Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, and this week I'm joined yet again by my good friend Damon McDonald.
That's me, yeah.
That's him. That's the guy, the other voice you can hear is the co-host of this podcast.
Yes.
He will also be doing some talking here. So I'm going to do some of the talking, he's going to do the other bits of talking.
Yes, in a very squeaky chair, by the way. I'm going to change my chair right now as you give the date and all that, because this chair is driving me nuts.
I've got a squeaky cat. You can have your squeaky chair, and I'll have my squeaky cat.
I'm going to switch out.
Snuggled up next to me. Right. I'm stroking Scrumpy's head really nicely and gently. He's very, very happy that he's here of his own free will. I'm not grabbing his paws or anything. No. He's not yowling or having a bad time. He absolutely loves it.
Just loving it.
It's Wednesday the 2nd of October 2024. This is episode 330 of the Super J-Cast, and I can't wait, Damon, to sit down here and chat some Shingo Pro Wrestling with you, talk about all the action, all the news. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have a great 90 minutes or so here.
We do it every single week. And we do it because, 1, we like talking to each other. And 2, we make each other laugh. And 3, we do it for you, the fine listeners of this program. We dedicate a block of time, about 90 minutes or so, where we talk about all the things in New Japan Pro Wrestling and then some, right? Sometimes we go astray. Sometimes we do. It just really depends on where the waves take us, Joel. They could take us. They could take us right down the fucking toilet. But sometimes it's gold. And tonight, I feel like it's gold. Tonight's going to be one of those gold performances. A podcast that you'll want to save and listen to again and again. Boy, how long can we stretch this out? How long can we stretch out this bit?
I'd say we've got about another 1 hour and 28 minutes. All right. So just keep going.
All right. You ever see that comedy bit? Are you familiar with the comedian Bill Burr?
Yes.
Well, he's pretty famous in these parts for a little bit that he did on just tearing Philly apart. YouTube that. Look at that in your spare time. So it was part of this little comedy festival, and it was an all-day outdoor thing with these 2 radio hosts back in the day, a little Opie and a little Anthony. And they had a comedy festival tour that they did, and it was just a shit show, an absolute fucking nightmare. Because he just had multiple comedians, and people are drinking all day, and it's just like fucking, and it's plus us Philly animals. And nobody was getting any reaction. And these are legitimate comedians. And then Bill Burr was just like, he saw somebody just get fucking destroyed on stage and cut his set short by like 15 minutes. And then he gets on and he's like, fuck it, I'm not having this. And he just goes on this rant about Philly and how this audience is the worst. It is fantastic. And he's like, how much more time do I got? 9 minutes. This town fucking blows. How much time do I got? 7 minutes. He just keeps going. Rocky stinks. Everything stinks. So good. Look it up. Just
very easy to do it about Philadelphia, but could he do a 9-minute roast about Bobby Tracy and all of the foibles of the good people down here?
Good old Bobby Tracy, my favorite. I'm going to get a T-shirt that says Bobby Tracy, even though it's not Bobby that we're talking about. Can I ask, who is Bobby Tracy? Is that a person? Or is it named after something? Like, help me out here.
I don't know. I never bothered to look it up.
Really?
I don't ask questions. I just live here.
Okay. You You just a member
We
of the
have
community.
a great Chinese takeaway.
Okay.
We have a kebab shop,
Okay.
Fish and chip shop,
Beautiful.
which is good, but very expensive.
Really?
I don't love fish and chips. It's very heavy. I can have it sort of once every 2 months and no more than that.
Okay.
We have an Indian restaurant, which I've not tried yet.
No. That's where I want to go.
A couple of good pubs. One doesn't show Sky Sports, only shows BT Sport.
What?
And I've been in there to watch Arsenal once, and we lost. So I'm not going back there again. It's bad.
Okay. All right. Can I ask? So, you have a preference of the sporting network, or is it just that's where Arsenal?
Yeah, in bed watching an illegal stream is usually my location of choice.
There you go.
I might sometimes. I've got one friend in Devon.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Steve, and he is also an Arsenal fan. So sometimes I will drive down to his way in a town called Buckfastleigh, which is the home of Buckfast Tonic. I don't know if I think that's quite famous. Maybe. Have you heard of Buckfast Tonic? Of course, you've not heard.
I keep thinking you're saying butt fuck. Like, what are you saying?
Buckfast Tonic wine.
No, I've never heard of it.
Buckfast.
Butt fuck.
It's a caffeinated alcoholic drink containing fortified wine with added caffeine, which was originally made by monks at Buckfast Abbey in Devon. So if you do come and visit, we'll have to get you some of that, and it will destroy your brain. It should not be consumed by anyone under any circumstances.
I love it. Listen, we're consuming all of it. We're cleaning the town out. I'm looking at the pictures, man. What a fucking lovely town. This is what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. Perfect. Yep, I'm going to do it all.
I don't want to go to Royal Quest anymore. I'm scared. I don't like going to London anymore.
Oh, you're scared?
It frightens me. Despite being a Londoner, I'm born in London, lived there for like 20 odd years. I'm scared of it now. I don't want to go to Royal Quest.
Are you afraid of pickpocketers or just hooligans? General.
It's not. I'm not scared of coming to any harm. I just dread the whole process of sitting on a train for 3 hours and having to negotiate a tube and just hemorrhaging money every step of the way, and just all the horrible, grumpy people and all the crowds, and just it's full of fuck faces, London. Don't like it anymore.
All right, listen. Well, I'm looking forward to going. Thank you very much. But yes, I hear you. There are plenty of times where I'm just like, there's too many people. There's too many people. We need to go somewhere where there's no people, and it's somewhat hard to do in London. That is for sure. Yes, but I'm looking forward to it. I really am. These little pictures have got me even more excited. This is the quintessential little UK town. Oh, the babbling brook. Yep.
It is. It's the best part of the UK.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Well, don't be afraid to go to Royal Quest. You're going to have a good time. The show sounds one of the best shows of the year for this company.
Why have they put on a fucking Sunday night, though? Why couldn't they have done it on a Saturday? Because, again, like, I've either got to pull a sickie or tell the truth and be like, I'm going to an event on Sunday and I'm not going to be back until... if I make the first train, I could be there sort of mid-morning, or I just take the whole day off.
Look, I know it sucks to burn a little vacation day, PTO day, whatever the fuck you call it. I get it. Just tell me you have a concert. That's what I would do. That's my...
Yeah, I've already booked. I get one, like, legit day off a year. We call it Give Back Day, and I've booked mine for the day after my birthday, which is like all the way in July.
Okay.
So I've already got that one, so I can't really have another one.
But you don't have any other days?
What's my best part? Yeah, I either pull a sickie or just tell the truth and be like, look, can I come in an hour or two later that day because I've got a concert?
Yeah, are they, on a scale of 1 to 10, how accommodating are they with these type of requests? You know what? Maybe you shouldn't say this on a
They're good.
They're good. They're good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, what the fuck? You have a life. You can't, these kids will be fine. Have them just stare at the wall. All right, everybody, we're going to play a game. It's called Stare at the Wall. See how long you can do that. Yeah, Sunday nights stink, though. What time will you get back on a Sunday night?
I don't know, because it's in Crystal Palace. I've never been to this venue before.
Mm-hmm.
and I will be with editor Dan, and I think from what he says, a cab a taxi is probably the best bet. Oh no, there's a tick. Scrumpy's got a tick.
Oh no. All right, let me post that online. Abusive cat owner does not take care of ticks on pet. Got it.
I need the little tick remover.
Yeah.
Mally!
That's her.
I need the tick remover. He's got a tick. What do you mean, why? I need the tick remover. She says, why?
I want to paint the wall. What do you think I need it for? Yeah. I love those type of questions. Why? What do you think? Oh, I love it. I love passive-aggressive-y stuff. I love that. I love the passive-aggressive-y. Like I had the bar in the garage, and there's been problems with the tap recently. And, she's like, it would have been better if you just didn't have the tap. And, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I get it. I don't take care of things. I get it.
Yes. That's it. All the fucking I told you so.
Right. I get it. We knew this day was going to come, so just relax. So it's all right. We'll get my friend Steve to fix it. He fixes everything. Oh, is she here? Got the tick remover?
She's looking for it now.
Okay.
We can hopefully, first on the Super J-Cast, a live tick remover.
Nice. Did you look in the tick remover drawer? There's the one drawer that's designated for tick removal. Ticks are pretty fucked up, man. Actually, you know what? Get that on you, you're gonna get like Lyme disease or something.
Lyme disease, yeah.
I have lemon Lyme disease.
That's again one of the hazards of living in the countryside.
Oh well, I can't go then. I don't want any of that. I don't want anything. I want to see nature. I don't want to experience nature.
Huh?
Right, let me hand over the cat to Mally.
No.
So he's got you can take it off, Mally. He's got a tick. Just on his little chest here. Can you see here? Yeah? Right. Can you deal with that, please?
Yeah, please.
Because I've got a podcast to do.
We're very important. We don't have time for this.
Go to Mummy. There we go.
Please.
That's in a relatively good place because before, I don't mind sharing this because I think it's important that we're open and honest about these things on the podcast.
Please.
He once had a tick on his anus.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, for real. And getting that off was an ordeal.
I bet. I mean, getting your lips around his ass, it's just...
the tongue action.
Right.
Was, yeah.
I mean, it's a cat. It doesn't know. But you got to get in there. Got to get it. Oh, boy. What a show already. 12 minutes in. We're fucking rocking and rolling. Rocking and rolling. All right.
No, don't twist, man. You just pull. Just pull up.
Pull?
Yeah, just pull it. Yes. Pull it up. Don't twist. Just pull. Don't twist it. Just pull it.
Wow. I feel like you've had this conversation before. Don't twist it. Pull it. Get it? Your cock.
You got it? Is it alive?
Now eat it.
Yeah.
It's still alive?
Yes.
Ugh.
How many legs?
Oh, God, I hate them.
Oh.
How many legs?
How many legs?
I think ticks and mosquitoes are the two worst.
Crickets are worse.
Creepy crawlies.
Crickets are worse.
You don't like crickets?
No, they jump.
Only 4 legs. They should have 6, right?
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Do you know how many legs a tick should have, Damon?
I don't, but I can go to the Google machine and see.
1, 2. Did I take all legs?
Have you pulled the tick's legs off by mistake?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is 6.
Looking. One moment, please. It is number of legs. Adult ticks have 8 legs, while larvae.
8? They should have 8.
While larvae have 6 legs, and nymphs.
That's it.
Wait, hear me out. Let me finish here. So again, adult ticks have 8 legs.
Only one?
Oh my lord!
Anything else?
It's the only one I could find.
Adult ticks have 8 legs. The nymphs, they call. Oh my lord!
Ay! Yuck!
All right, nymphs have 4 pairs of legs. 4.
Why?
What type of creature is what's the class of? Is that the right word I'm using? Like, what is a tick?
They are a
cellothorax.
No, they're a cephalothorax. CPHALOTHO.
Another one.
Oh yeah.
Another one.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Oh no, it's people.
Oh,
No, that's his nipple.
Not good. There's have you gone to tickcheck.com? There's an identification.
Well, they are arachnids. They're in the arachnids class.
Are they?
Arachnid, like spiders and scorpions.
Okay. I'm going to send you a link.
So is it danger?
I'm looking at the scientific classification tree now. We are in the class of Arachnida.
Okay. Again, I think you should go to.
No.
You should go to tickcheck.com.
Put on your head.
I'll give you all the info.
Tickcheck.com.
That is correct. That'll give you everything you need.
You got a tick. You got a tree. You got a tick.
Oh my Lord.
Okay.
All right.
Let's stop talking about ticks now
Yeah.
and talk about New Japan. Should we do that now?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Yep. Hey, did you see any of this Kenny Omega Hiroshi Tanahashi stuff?
I did, actually. Yeah, a little
chat or something. What do you make of that?
Well, I think it all but guarantees his involvement in that 2-day extravaganza, at least, right? I think that's where we're headed with this one, right? Here's the thing, too. I like the fact that, and again, it's not like they weren't doing business before with Kenny arriving for Will Ospreay, but I liked it. I thought it was, I don't know. I kind of like the way it was left as a little bit of a cliffhanger. I kind of like the little bit of a, I don't think anybody was, let's put it this way. When it happened, I think people were excited by it, but I don't think anybody necessarily was surprised by it. At least I wasn't anyway, because again, it's not like they have this hatred, between themselves anymore, or at least it doesn't seem.
Well, I don't know if Kenny's still forgiven them for cutting short his little Undertale entrance video he had for Wrestle
Oh my God,
13.
that fucking.
He was very upset about it.
I know he was, but listen, it's that's all bridge. That's all water under the bridge at this point, right? Everything seems to be hunky dory, and the new president, is he a vice president still at AEW?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
So it'd be quite cool to see them teaming up maybe for one of those Tokyo Dome nights.
Yeah, I mean, I would not have a problem. Like that's to me that second night, I do want it to be a bit Fire Pro Wrestling ish. Let's get those fucking wacky combinations. Like I said, I liked the video. I thought it was pretty well done. I liked the cliffhanger part of it, and like I said, I think it guarantees his placement come January 4th and 5th in some capacity. And you would think there would be them together.
And there's also some interesting stuff with Taiji Ishimori, where he has got a show on November 12th in Shinjuku Face, where he is producing and presenting his own card entitled Superhuman Taiji Ishimori Gets Ridiculous. And a random drawing has determined that Ishimori will wrestle 5 times over the course of the evening. So it's a bit of mystery vortex. They've announced a couple of matches. His first matchup announced is him in a 6-man tag. He's teaming with Sho and Shun Skywalker to face the trio of Jeff Cobb, Daisuke Sekimoto, and Shuji Ishikawa. So that's one match that's been announced. And the second match has been announced is a singles match against Dragon Kid. So 2 matches announced so far. But I suppose the big talking point is the fact that all the tickets sold out pretty much immediately, and apparently it's scalpers. And that was a big issue with the Despy show, and a big problem with this Ishimori show as well. So the scalpers bought heaps of tickets. I'm just looking at some tweets here. So Despy was tweeting, and he's quite angry about this. I'm not sure if he's talking about his show or the Ishimori show. It's it's got Japanese Twitter in a tizzy. They're not happy about it, and the scalpers are just ruining everything.
They do. I mean, on all aspects, it is just a shitty business model, to be real honest with you. Like anybody who does that, and like there are people that like, you do with everything. Like even fucking like sneakers and Halloween decorations. There are people that do that, like they'll buy all the hot thing for that season and then resell it. I mean, I guess it's in a free economic, what am I looking to say here? Like it's a thing, right? And supply and demand and all that stuff. I'm just kind of surprised that there would be such a high demand for these type of tickets, right? Like I know these are small venues, and I guess people who are interested in going would, if you're a wrestling fan, Shinjuku Face is basically a club. Were you ever in there?
No, I've never been there.
I mean, it's in the middle of, is it Kubichuchu? Like the red light district. And it's a bar. It doesn't hold that many people. Like if it holds, I don't even think it holds 500 people. I'd be shocked. If it holds 500 people, we're breaking fire codes. So, like, what would be the scalper mindset of that? Of like, oh, there's a show that's can hold 500 people. Let me scoop up all the tickets for the 500 wrestling fans that might want to get in this fucking thing. I don't know. It's just shitty. Like, I hate the business model of it, and I hate the fact that people who would want to go see it, like, talk about just okay, you have a hobby, and this is like on the outer fringe of your hobby, right? Like, how many people are like, oh, fuck, I want to go to this show? Well, there are people, but it's a very select few. And then you have just scumbags that would eat up all the tickets like that. I don't know. Why am I complaining about it? But I feel sorry for those people that would want to go. Now they got to pay double, triple. I thought there were laws preventing that from happening, though, in Japan. I could have sworn. I don't know. A lot of speculation on my part, Joel. I don't know. But something's got to be done, I say. And the thing about it is that, okay, well, here's another question I have, being that we're talking about tickets. Like, it's not like you get these tickets via Ticketmaster, where you're logging in and you're fucking pounding and hoping you're in the queue and all that nonsense, and then you get hosed over with fees. Like, you got to buy these tickets, like, I don't even think can you buy them online? I need answers. Like, it doesn't seem like this is going to, like, I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. Why are these hot tickets, Joel? Help me out. I don't understand.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just assuming that Ishimori has a loyal following. I mean, he's been wrestling for a long time, so.
Well, why would scalpers get involved in that, I guess, is my question.
Well, because they're trying to exploit those fans, because they know that there will be some unfortunate diehard Ishimori fans who, for whatever reason, were not able to get the tickets as quickly as the scalpers were, and now they're going to be held to ransom.
Okay, fine. I'm with you with that premise. But remove Ishimori's name and put in Taylor Swift, and I would understand. Remove that and put in Band X. Put in Wrestle Kingdom. I would understand. But, like, how many people are diehard Ishimori fans, right, in Tokyo that want to go? Again, 500 at most. So a scalper's mindset is, well, let me fuck over that small little fraction of a fan community. You know what I mean? Like, of all things, you're going to scalp that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like very sustainable.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
It's an extremely niche grift that you can only do once.
Right. But apparently they're doing it for all these shows. I mean, again, I don't know if it's all these shows, but we have 2 examples. How about that? I just think it's very odd. Of all things they could scalp, they're going to scalp that. And okay, and now again, here's conspiracy theory Damon going, but here we go.
It was Tony Khan.
It was right. Maybe it was Ishimori himself to help. He bought all the tickets, right? And then to pump up demand, it's like, oh, this show, I got to go see it. And now he releases a few of them out there on the market, drips and drabs. Whew, now he's raking in even more money. God damn it, Ishimori. We knew it. I don't know. But it just seems weird. I don't know. The whole thing seems odd. All right. Enough. We don't beat that horse to death.
Right, well, let's talk about destruction in Kobe. So the attendance for this show which apparently is the biggest crowd in Kobe World Hall in 5 years.
Good on New Japan. Good on New Japan. And once again, it's on a show that, all right, on paper had its moments, right? But to sit here and say like this is something that people were clamoring for and going out of their way and crawling all over each other to tune in and talk about and watch, like there really hasn't been a ton of buzz about the show itself that I've seen anyway. Yet here we are. We're talking about a house that, to me feels like exceeded expectations. And I would even go so far as to say, I think the company's pretty pleased with that outcome too. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I can't predict it. I wish I could tell you. I wish I could sit here and give you solid guesses of attendance and figures beforehand, because I have no idea. Cards that I think are going to be, a tough ticket. There's I don't want to say plenty, but let's put it this way: under what they might have had in previous years, and then you go and you have this show headlined Naito Okan, which I mean, I don't know. Look, for all the things we talk about with Naito and the health and the matches and is he going to hold up and all that stuff? Not for nothing, as I like to say. Who else drew that house? Was it the expectation of Noah participation? Was it the returning ELP maybe? I mean, to me, this was based off of that. It was based off of that main event. Got to give him credit. He's still able to do it. And it I would go so far as to say it exceeded my prediction of a house. And like I said, I think that the company kind of exceeded theirs too. I'd be curious. I'd like to see the pace of ticket sales. Like, were a lot of them sold in the beginning and then it cooled off and then it picked up, or maybe it was steady the whole way through? I don't know. I'd be curious. But at the end of the day, Naito's still a draw, kids. I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. Why would I hate to say it? He still is. And that's why he's in the position that he's in. Physical ailments aside, that's why he's in the position that he's in.
So that said, and I know I'm jumping way ahead here, do you think there is going to be a big temptation on New Japan's part to keep the belt on Naito and have him headlining Wrestle Kingdom as the champion, given that he's still able to do good numbers?
That's a good question. I would think that they're pretty. Look, I like the fact that they have a direction and they don't waver, but I also hate the fact that they have a direction and they don't waver. I don't see them pivoting. I think we are still full steam ahead here, but I would think that those type of numbers would have people looking at each other and like, we sure about this? We sure we want to do this? Because at the end of the day, it is about how many seats are filled, and it doesn't matter what two fucking dopes with a microphone think. It matters who's buying tickets there. So I'm going to say they're not going to change. But, and again, let me be very clear. I don't know 100% certain that they are going to drop a title to Zack and have him defend in England and all the things we've talked about for months. Nothing's set in stone. It does seem that that's the route we're taking. But I'm
not so sure. I'm not so sure anymore.
I mean, let's put it this way, Joel. Like after the show, and again, the whole, multiple people in the ring and multiple challenges and multiple this, and it seemed like we could go in 900 different directions. It still feels like we're still going in the same direction, but and a lot of that might be just to throw people off the scent. You would have to think, Monday morning when everybody's sitting in the office, there had to be some discussion of, okay, this guy's making his money. What should we do? And I'll go so far as to say they'd be stupid if they didn't. I'm not saying that it changed anyone's mind. I'm not saying that they're going in any direction whatsoever, but like they'd be stupid to not have that conversation.
I just got distracted by John Duran scoring a brilliant goal for Aston Villa against Bayern Munich.
Yeah. Give me a description. A header or a... was it like a...
No, it was a quick breakaway. Okay. They've just gone from one end to the other, kind of caught Bayern with their pants down, and Duran has hit the ball from a good 35 yards out, keeper's well off his line. I mean, pretty terrible goalkeeping, to be fair, but he's just cracked one in from about 35 yards over the flailing arms of the goalkeeper.
Top corner?
And I'm waiting. No, it's gone like right into the middle of the goal because the goalkeeper was so out of position.
Wow.
But I would very much like him to score 2 goals in a match at some point so that we can do Duran puns.
Fuck yeah. Now we're talking. They're coming around. Less than a month. That big Madison Square Garden show. Pumped up for it. I'm glad you threw in the Duran. I'm proud of you for throwing in the Duran reference. That's a good job by you. Good job.
So let's get into the show then. So the first match was Dragon Dia, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Shota Umino defeating Tiger Master Tomoaki Honma and Yuji Nagata in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Biggest takeaway here would be speculating at the future direction for Dragon Dia, because obviously this is in sort of Dragon Gate territory, and he appeared in Best of the Super Juniors, so sort of coming back to do that, but possibly sowing the seeds to be teaming up with Taguchi in Super Junior Tag League. They definitely hinted towards that. And we've set the stage as well for Shota Umino versus Callum Newman for Royal Quest. So we looked at this one when we were previewing the show as a bit of a punishment for Shota Umino, but he's been talking a lot, and you look at that Callum Newman match as a possible springboard for him to be doing something a bit more meaningful as we go on to the Wrestle Kingdom season.
Yeah. They dust off Taguchi in the hip attacks. Yeah. I mean, the match was fine. I mean, it was goofiness galore, but I think the guy who we all thought should get the win got the win. Did it matter that it was Honma or, I don't think it does. To me, it didn't. Let's put it that way. But the right guy got the win. And, you just reminded me we were right around the corner from all the tag leagues. Yeah, so I'm sure there's some little breadcrumbs that are being thrown around there as well. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, the right guy got the win. Were you surprised at the somewhat, I want to say lack of participation, but I don't know. I was kind of hoping a little bit more from Dragon, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? First match. What am I complaining about?
Yeah, I'm really curious about what they're doing with Shota Umino, because I'm looking at the King of Pro Wrestling card, and I think we'll preview that later, of course, but what they've done a good job on this card is showcasing the young guys. So we got Oiwa in a singles match. We've got Tsuji in the 3-way TV title match. We've got Shota Umino in the Tanahashi 25th anniversary match, which admittedly is only a 6-man tag, but they are putting those guys out there. Yeah. So something to keep an eye on. I'll be really curious as the year goes on what the placement is for those young guns, particularly at the Tokyo Dome. So just something to keep an eye on, because Shota Umino's trajectory has been very strange, and a lot of people think he's sort of gone off the rails or stalled or is out of favour with the company. But I'm not so sure. Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind too, we're all Royal Quest. We'll have a bunch of that too. It is a weird path that he has taken, though. I will say that. Like, it does seem like when we were talking about and previewing specifically this match, it was a I don't know. We kind of threw around the term punishment, and trust me, we wouldn't know that if it was mailed to us, if it was or it wasn't. But he's got what? He's got Callum Newman at Royal Quest, so, and Yoda's got Drilla, and isn't Fujita on the card too, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah, so there's plenty of there's plenty of fucking young guys that are in a time when you kind of need things to get heated up a little bit. It is October. We need to start. It's good to see. It's good to see these guys getting kind of breaking out a little bit and kind of getting a pattern or a pace to get some spotlight on these guys because they kind of need it. They kind of need it. All right, very good.
The next match then was a 6-man tag match, Los Ingobernables de Japón, Bushi, Hiromu, Takahashi, and Yota Tsuji defeating United Empire, Callum Newman, Francesco Akira, and Jeff Cobb. This one stood out to me by virtue of Hiromu and some quite ruthless legwork on Akira. And myself and other people thought that this could have been a showcase for Akira, maybe set him up as a possible challenger for the junior title. But Hiromu just basically destroyed him, just took his leg apart and just looked like a killer. He had that edge there, which we don't often see from Hiromu. Often we see a sort of goofy side, or he's working from beneath, he's making the babyface comebacks and all that. But here, it was sort of very sort of cold and calculated and ruthless the way he took out Akira's leg. And the notable news coming off the back of that is he's challenged Mystico, and they're going to have a singles match. I think that's going to open the King of Pro Wrestling card. And of course, we've got Yota Tsuji coming out of this one, challenging Jeff Cobb for the TV title again, and Ren Narita getting involved. But Hiromu was an interesting one because he, had that big match with HENARE for the Never title, and a lot of people, myself included, thought that could be a springboard to being in a more open weight realm and possibly challenging Naito, having a singles match with Naito at the Tokyo Dome. And now he's wrestling Mystico. It just seems very strange what they're doing with Hiromu. I don't know if this is them trying to keep him away from the junior title picture. I'd just be very curious what the plans are for him going into Wrestle Kingdom, because there's still all the the buzz and the whisper in the rumours that he may end up doing something with Naito. Even some people talking about a Naito Hiromu retirement match, something like that. So that's a really curious one for me, and definitely seeing a bit more of a different side to Hiromu in this match has rekindled my interest in Hiromu. And it, I have to admit, it was waning earlier in the year, but now they're going in some very interesting and uncertain directions with him, and that uncertainty I'm finding quite appealing.
It feels like this was less than 10 minutes, and I thought the match was good. But I was, trust me, I was kind of scratching my head because everything that we had talked about and all the different possibilities that they could go in. Okay, great. Yota Tsuji, Jeff Cobb, once again, I don't think anybody's complaining, right? Great. But then, I don't know, you have other guys that could take falls. It just, I don't know. To me, if you wanted, if you were serious about Hiromu kind of leveling up, if you will, why would you have him beat a junior unless he's staying a junior? Or was that just like him just showing complete dominance and saying, "Okay, well, I have leveled up and I'm going to now destroy every fucking junior in my path." I just thought it was just a weird, of all the guys that were in that match, he might have been, and again, hindsight being 2020 and the post match and all that stuff. I don't know. To me, it seemed like I didn't care who won and who lost. It just team wise, I just find it amazing in a company that does put a lot of emphasis on who gets wins and who gets losses, that Hiromu would be the guy to get the win. Again, later in the show, it kind of irons itself out a little bit, but I guess my point being is this. I think there's a deepening of the divide in the sense of Hiromu being purely a junior. And I think the people who have longed for Hiromu to, kind of graduate from juniors, I think they're going to get their wish relatively soon. Because he wouldn't have. Why of all people would he get the win? Like, okay, so if you wanted to continue on with Jeff Cobb and Yota Tsuji, one of those people getting it, getting the fall. Like, we're not really doing much with Callum Newman. I mean, he does have. But wouldn't it have been nice for him to get a win? Could he have pinned Bushi? Right? Like, it just does kind of seem like that. The idea of giving him this win was him putting a stamp on, okay, I'm moving on from juniors. At least that's what I felt. And again, nothing was official, but it's just like, why else would we do this?
Yeah, it's a really strange one. I mean, I'm also wondering if he's going to have any sort of involvement in Super Junior Tag League. Is he going to be teaming up with Bushi or Titan or maybe even Mystico? Maybe they do some sort of wacky crossover tag team there. I just can't, if I were in charge, I've said this for a long time, that I feel they could be doing more by giving, I don't know, just like having Naito and Hiromu and Shingo and Tsuji all in the same faction seems like you're missing a trick. It feels like it's leaving money on the table. And it feels that just have this uncertain feeling in my tummy, Damon, that something might be happening at Wrestle Kingdom with LIJ.
Yeah. I
don't know what, I don't really have any evidence for it, but it just feels a bit weird.
Yeah.
I can't be any more articulate than that. It's a feeling in my bones.
No, I'm with you. I think, and I think you had dropped hints, when we were talking about, so what's Naito going to be doing at the Dome? And I wouldn't be surprised if there's I wouldn't necessarily go so far as to say there's a blow up and a blood feud that'll happen, but it does seem like there's just too much involvement with co-members of the same faction for something to not be in the air. And again, him getting that win, Hiromu getting that win, just of all the people, he would probably be the last person I would say, okay, he gets the win. And I know I'm harping on who gets the win in what would seem like a meaningless second match on the show, but I don't know. It just stuck out like a sore thumb to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm.
Yeah, with New Japan, that stuff is never random, right? There's always an intentionality behind it.
Right. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see, as they say, but it does feel like there is something brewing. And trust me, I would not care in the least if, there's going to be no tears shed if they said, okay, we're getting rid of Los Ingobernables. I would have no problem with that. I think the time has come.
Yeah. Do the roll call.
Yep.
All of them in the ring, but that's the final roll call, and then they go their separate ways.
Love it. I think that would be chef's kiss.
Third match was Gabe Kidd versus Hiroki Goto. So initially they went to a double counter after a minute 44, and then Gabe declared it a no disqualification match. They went 8 minutes 24 seconds, where Hiroki Goto picked up the win here. And Damon, I think Gabe really sent a direct message here. There was a lot of animosity. I need to know where it came from, because these guys just at each other like two wild animals. And so much so, Gabe Kidd going for the older Kishin Liger spot with the spike.
Yeah.
Jamming the spike into the table, which we saw a few years ago against Minoru Suzuki. And I like the story behind this, with Gabe trying to get revenge for his fallen comrade, Jake Lee. Still don't know the extent of Jake's injury, but it feels like Gabe Kidd has had a little bit of a push, and now I do feel that the Mad Bastards is probably his future direction. And I think that would be a really cool spot. So hopefully Jake Lee is okay. And if, let's say, just for sake of argument, we have something at Wrestle Kingdom like the Mad Bastards against Bishamon, I think that would be a really nice spot for Gabe Kidd. I know a lot of people, myself included, might prefer to have him in a singles match there, but space on these cards is going to come at a premium. Correct. And I just feel that whilst he has had this really nice arc, and there will be more juice to it, I still think that this is sort of the opening acts of an extended feud between Hiroki Goto, Yoshi-Hashi, Gabe Kidd, and Jake Lee in various permutations, whether that's tag or singles matches. So it just feels like we're at the start of that story rather than the end of it.
I hope so, because that's not a bad spot for anybody, really. And I think the match would be, it's not going to be a pre-intermission match. I think it'll be in the upper side of the card. The only problem is that we don't know the injury, right? So we don't know how quickly he'll return. And I know we're a little sidetracked with Goto now challenging David Finlay. Sorry to spoil anybody. I'm just kind of amazed that we're sitting here in the year 2024 and we're just thrilled with what Hiroki Goto has done. Like, talk about, look, once again, we say it a trillion times that when people get tapped on the shoulder, they can go. But I really didn't think that we would be here and almost week after week praising a guy who, not to say that he was washed, but like he just wasn't a part of the mix in a large sense. And yet here we are. So while I think Gabe Kidd is the future, Goto, I think deserves like flowers upon flowers, just because.
Yeah, he's had such a great renaissance.
It's really a crazy thing. Like again, they have a guy that they can trust. They have a guy that can go. They have a guy that, he's up there in age, but like he's not geriatric. And he's going out there and he's really having fucking great matches when, all right, let's be really honest here. Does he really need to? Does he have to? Like he's going out there and doing it. And like, seriously, you think he's sitting there like, oh, okay, I'm going to get my ass kicked tonight by Gabe Kidd, like he can't, I don't think he's looking forward to those moments. And yet here he is, gets a win. And now he's challenging for a major title. Like that's, I don't think anybody could have predicted it. I'm happy that it's happening. I'm happy that he's producing. I'm happy that we're getting this, to be truthful. I don't think anybody could have predicted it.
Here's the thing. I didn't even think he was going to be in G1.
Right.
When he made that initial cut, I was very surprised about that. So my headcanon is that he wasn't originally going to be included, and then he's kicked up a fuss and was like, no, I've still got plenty left in the tank. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. And he's definitely doing so. He's proven me wrong. I thought he was cooked. I mean, I knew he had value as a tag wrestler, but as a singles wrestler, we've seen not a great deal from him in recent years. But I think hindsight being 2020, he was working through a lot of those G1s with injuries, and now he seems to be in good health and is showing he's got tremendous value. He's aging like a fine wine, isn't he? The older he gets, the more traction there is with, he's leaning into that thing of the dads and, getting his kids and other people talking about his kids. And as more people leave the company, with Okada going and that, and him being one of the last guys left standing in Chaos, and Yoshi-Hashi not being in the G1, Ishii not being in the G1, there's definitely a really sort of big emotional hook with Hiroki Goto, and the in-ring work is matching that. I'm really excited for Goto versus Finlay, and that's for both of those guys in equal measure, because I would say Goto, is he putting together a resume for what's
Unsung Hero or something like that?
Unsung, yeah.
I think so. I can't imagine him not getting votes. Like just the year that he's had. I can't imagine he like again would if I said on January 1 of 2024, hey, you know who's going to have a pretty solid year and who's going to be a focal point in quite a few different programs? How about that Hiroki Goto? I think everybody would be like, oh, well, I mean, okay. And here we are. He doesn't have to do all this, but yet he's doing it. And I mean, I understand the idea of it might be weird to have Gabe Kidd challenge David Finlay. I understand that. But even then, I was a little surprised that Gabe Kidd took the fall. Like, here's a guy that doesn't necessarily need to get the win, right? He's established. By a long shot, he's established. I don't know. I love the Renaissance. And, you know, we sit here when we talk about Yoshi-Hashi and how he flipped the script, COVID, not necessarily reinvented himself, but he found himself, I guess. How about Hiroki Goto, COVID and post-COVID, clap crowd and all that? Like, he, between the Never six-man and the tag belts, and now this little spurt, like seriously, he deserves his flowers. He definitely deserves his flowers. And yep, he always seems. I think we said this before. Like, he was just in the wrong time. Like, if he was in any other era, I think he wouldn't have gotten lost in the shuffle. And I feel like he did. He got lost in the shuffle. And yes, he's had runs with that Intercontinental. He won it at Dontaku. He's had, you know, tag title. You know, he's had things. So don't get me wrong. But, you know, compared to a lot of the top stars of the promotion, you know, he's lost in the shuffle. I think in a different era, he would definitely have been like a top guy. And in another promotion, he probably would be too. But I was going to say he's a steady hand. He's more than a fucking steady hand. He's more than a fucking steady hand. And the fact that he's been here through the lean times in the past 10 years and the best times and the good times, and he's still delivered. Yeah, he better get some fucking votes for Unsung. He deserves it.
Fourth match was the returning Ryohei Oiwa and Kosei Fujita and Zack Sabre Jr. defeating the team of Taka Michinoku, Sanada, and Taichi. So it was a bullseye. Ryohei Oiwa getting the pin. Was it Taka Michinoku he pins? Yeah. With a big discus lariat. The grip, I believe it's called, or the 180 or something like that. Some sort of darts-related thing. So, of course, there's been a lot of discourse going into this one about Oiwa's positioning on his return, and a lot of people thinking that he should be not aligned with a faction, or he should be coming in a bigger spot rather than being a secondary heavyweight behind Zack Sabre Jr. And I've talked about it at length last week. He's going to be fine. He needs to be part of a faction. That's just the way New Japan do things. And I think that TMDK is one of the hotter, maybe the hottest faction right now. He is filling a gap in TMDK as their heavyweight Japanese ace. I like his mullet. I thought he was like a Davy Crockett raccoon skin hat initially when he came out.
Right.
And that discus lariat, I don't know, it looked a little bit Rainmaker-ish to me. Just saying.
Right.
Just saying. But yeah, I think it's a good spot for him, and very encouraged to see him coming straight out of the gates and challenging Shingo for that Never Openweight title. I don't necessarily think he wins it, but at the very least, it's a statement of intent from the company that this is someone they view as a guy and that they got plans for.
Oh, make no mistake about it. He's a fucking guy. I would not be surprised if he does walk out of there with a title quickly. You know, one defense and you're beat. He looks like a stud. You know, he looked like a fucking guy. And, you know, to have him in the mix in that closing segment of the show just kind of reemphasizes the fact that, yep, he's going to be in a faction. Like there's no getting around that. Like he's not going to have his own faction or rogue or whatever. Like we kind of knew that. And again, we spend a lot of time talking about what ifs, but we kind of knew this was the path for weeks now, right? He's a guy.
Yeah, that's not a slight on him. That's just like a structural New Japan booking thing.
Yeah, not only booking thing, but like dojo time and gym time and like travel time. You know, like just like they'd like to have those factions be a thing. And
it makes narrative sense as well because he'd always been connected with Zack, and every time Zack had been foiling evil, he'd had Fujita and Oiwa. Like those are the two guys he took under his wing. So I think it makes perfect sense both narratively and in terms of the booking. Like I'm very happy with this.
Yeah, and I don't think he's taken a backseat to Zack because here's the thing: like if you're, he's going to be in the mix. He's in the mix. Don't be surprised if he walks out with that title. And if Zack is on the course that we all kind of think that he's on, like there's you know, you're not playing second fiddle to fucking, I don't know. And I'm not saying this with any disrespect, mind you, but you're not playing second fiddle to David Finlay, right? You're going to be playing second fiddle to the fucking world champion. There's no harm in that. And he's going to be a guy, and he's going to be in the mix because he already is, and he looks the part, and he feels the part. Nah, this is a win. Like to me, I'm so bullish on this, you know, and the way that they did this, the excursion, just to have him around, like have him around, love it. I think that was really smart because, like I said, you just plopped them in, and it wasn't like, oh, I remember this guy from a few years ago, and no, he's here. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you know him. You've seen him go, and for him to pop up in a faction that is arguably the hottest in New Japan, again with a guy who is on a trajectory of being the top guy in the fucking promotion. Again, it might not happen, but let's just say it does. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we're doing pretty good. Quite honestly, I think we're doing pretty good.
We had a question here from Lewis. It says, with Ryohei Oiwa return to New Japan, challenging Shingo for the Never title, is it too soon or just what we want to see? Remember when Tsuji returned and was put right into IWGP title match with Sanada? Hope it goes well for Oiwa. So yeah, I think we covered that. I think we're both pretty happy about it. Don't think it's too soon at all. I don't expect him to win that title because I just feel that, again, we'll talk about Shingo later, but him getting the Never title around this time of year to me suggests that he will probably be carrying that into Wrestle Kingdom. But then again, they did sow that little seed of doubt there with Shingo saying he wants to face the winner of Naito versus Zack. You know, they could do champion versus champion, but that's just
too much.
Giving me that little shred where I'm thinking, oh, maybe he does.
I think he does. I'm putting some shekels on that one. I think he's got it. And here's the thing too. Like, I don't know if he broke a record or maybe he tied a record, Shingo, with holding the Never title. Like, it seems like he's held it 416 times. Like, for him to drop it first offense, I don't think anybody would have a big problem with that. Like, nobody's going to be like, oh, they disrespected Shingo. No, I don't think so. I think
that would be really sensational. I think people would be buzzing if that happens.
I'm here for it, man. I think that happens. Let's go. Let's go all in. Let's go all in on the TMDK. Let's go.
The next match was the Never Openweight 6-man tag team title match. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Oleg Boltin, and Toriano defeated the House of Torture team of Evil Show and Yujiro Takahashi in 11 minutes 10 seconds. This was fine. Like, honestly, I've got no interest in these Never 6-man titles anymore, just because of the nature of the matches they've been having recently. But this feud has served a useful function as like a quarantine zone for House of Torture and Yano and Tanahashi, and sort of keeping them away from the upper end of the card. So it's good in that sense. So I'm not going to complain about that. It's fine. Absolutely fine. The talking points coming out of this was Ren Narita returning and El Phantasmo returning as well.
Oh, wait a minute. So, that was El Phantasmo? I thought that was Enzo Amore.
Sorry, I was waiting for that one all day. How you doing? Oh, dear. Yeah, so ELP came back, and backstage, they officially disbanded Gorillas of Destiny.
Oh, no.
So, Paul went out for GOD. That is no more. And ELP officially a member of Hontai. I was wondering, I've got an eye towards World Tag League because ELP did quite well in Tag League last year. I was wondering, are we doing ELP and Shota teaming up, or maybe ELP and Oleg Boltin? That might be an interesting team. But yeah, that was that match, and that was what happened after that match.
I noticed that you didn't say Toriano. You don't think that's that? You don't think that's the future World Tag League? Oh, I can see that.
What, Phantasmo and Yano?
Yeah. You're not excited?
Christ, you imagine?
Oh, I don't think we're going to have to imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if we say it. I would not be surprised if we say it. I'm not saying we will. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I mean, look, you hit the nail on the head. It's accomplishing a lot of things at the same time. You got Yano, you got House of Torture, all in the mix. You got Hiroshi Tanahashi, who again, your mileage is going to vary as to what he can do in the ring and what he can't do in the ring and what he should do in the ring as president. And you got a young guy who's getting his chops. Getting his ring time. That's a win all the way around. And like I said, and like you said, it keeps things separate. I don't got a problem with it. I'm surprised at how long it's gone with this particular team in these defenses. Even though it does feel like, well, didn't they lose it and then regain it? Because this was only like their third title defense, right? Maybe it was their second.
I think they win it in the tournament in Taiwan.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. That fucking tournament in Taiwan gets me every time. I forget that was even a thing. It feels like they've had it for fucking years. But nope, second defense. Feels like it's been more than that. But yeah, it's serving a purpose. ELP Yano, World Tag League, brother. Let's do it. we go on vacation, right? Do we line up anybody? Let's get that lined up soon.
Right. Okay, so then that brought us to the sixth match, which was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match, where Doki defeated Yoshinobu Kanemaru in 20 minutes and 8 seconds. And even though Doki went into this as the champion, he was still the underdog here, with the full support of all the neutral fans and all the pundits against the dark arts of the evil, dastardly challenger who would break every rule possible to get the advantage. Oh, wait, sorry, Damon. I've accidentally been reading my notes from Man City against Arsenal. Yeah. Anyway, back to this match. Kanemaru, I thought it was... to me, he is the ideal template for the modern-day House of Torture match structure, where the shenanigans add a bit of spice to the match rather than defining it. Kanemaru is just doing his usual thing, where he's systematically taking the part, being the crafty veteran that just your favourite wrestler's favourite wrestler. That's what Chris Chart was saying, wasn't it? And yeah, just a lot of really good chemistry between him and Doki. Set him up perfectly for the fiery babyface comeback. I thought they were both really great here. And afterwards, we had Sho coming out as a challenger. Took the title belt, threatened to destroy it. The little goblin man scurrying away with the wrench as his music plays. Yeah. That's what we're doing now.
That's what we're doing. One, when Chris Stroughton said that, I was like, Tony Khan's my favorite wrestler? I was like, what? It's... Well, all right, let's do positive. Because I don't really have a lot of negative. I love this title reign. I love this Doki title reign. I really do. Because, like you mentioned, he has this overwhelming, at least to me, it feels like, support. Like, it's easy to root against House of Torture, right? And it's easy to root against Kanemaru being the fucking dickhead to be all dickheads, right? It's easy to do that. And it's easy to get behind a guy to battle the odds again, when he's outnumbered. That being said, I think a lot of people are into it just because of the whole idea of a guy like him working his fucking tail off and, having arguably the most important junior title in the history of pro wrestling wrapped around his waist. I don't know where we go. I mean, I in the sense of, I don't know if I'm thrilled with Show and continuing on with more House of Torture. I think it can be good. The problem is that Show doesn't do much for me. And it really depends on which one we get, which show we get. And I know I'm not expecting Show of 4 years ago, mind you. But that being said, it did feel a little bit like I was kind of hoping for somebody else. I really was. I really was hoping for somebody else. And maybe this is just a placeholder kind of thing till we get to January. But the idea of Show did very little for me here.
I can see why, sort of, in terms of the dynamics, that he might be a fun foil to Doggy, who likes to, again, despite being champion, is often the underdog because he's sort of going into a lot of these title defenses against guys who historically have his number, guys that he's not beaten or he has big losing streaks against. So I could definitely see the logic going into it, and I'd like to think that this would just be a filler defense until we're waiting for the big match, the money match, Master Huato to make his return. But yeah, I mean, at the very least, we seem to have moved away from the Ishimori, Desperado, Hiromu era, because I was scared that when Hiromu got the pin in that match on the undercard, that he was going to be the challenger. So I'm relieved in that sense that they didn't go back to Hiromu versus Doggy, because I thought that they were going to do that, and I thought that would have been creatively bankrupt. So is this the lesser of two evils?
Right. I just don't know how you change up the dynamic. Like, it feels like it's the same dynamic in the sense of House of Torture. Okay, they're going to interfere. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, okay, well what's the point?
And whatever Show does in this match, Kanemaru does it better.
I think so at this point, right? Aside from funny faces. I think Show's got the funny face locked down. That's good. True. But yeah, I did think Hiromu was the guy, but I probably would be equal in my meh-ness of excitement, right? Either way we went. So it's Show, and if it's a placeholder, then so be it, till we get on to bigger and better things.
Next, it was the Never Openweight title match. Shingo Takagi defeating HENARE in 90 minutes, 23 seconds. This was a very good match. It's hard for me not to grade this on a curve, because we've seen these guys wrestle each other so much, and they've all sort of mushed together in my brain, where I've got this sort of idea in my head of, they've had a better match than this before. Well, I think I've sort of cherry-picked all the best moments from all those matches and combined them all into like one Frankenstein's monster of a brilliant match, where, their matches have all been good. Like, none of them have been bad, and this one was a very good match. But again, just it's impossible to divorce that from all the other previous matches they've had. And I just think, whilst I can on one hand say that the work was good in this match and they worked hard and it was an entertaining match, that I'm just a bit fatigued from the combination.
Right.
I think they've got pretty good chemistry, but I just feel like all the spots, and I feel like I've seen it all before. And also, I don't know, I'm really struggling to watch HENARE matches. I can't watch any more. I don't want to see this guy repeatedly dropped on his head. And I'm not saying it was his fault. I just think he's had some extraordinary bad luck in these matches, but it does seem to be happening a lot. And I don't know. I suspect it's guys lifting him up who are not quite prepared for how heavy he is, because he's a big dude, right? He is large,
thick,
and that's seen what happened. Like, Shingo lifting him up for Last of the Dragon was like, oh fuck, this guy's enormous, and then it seemed like he dropped him, and he looked, I don't know, just my reading of this, I'm not an expert or anything, but he looked very apologetic afterwards. So yeah, I don't want to attribute blame on that, but it's just like every time HENARE is in a match, I'm like, I'm watching it through my fingers, thinking that he needs to have a think about his longevity and the style that he's wrestling. And fair play to him. For him, it's like never title or bust. That's what he's born and bred in. That's what he believes in. But at the same time, I don't want to see people getting seriously hurt. And I don't usually do this. I'm not like a safety police kind of person, but that was pretty gnarly seeing him dropped on his head.
Yeah. I mean, considering the year that he's had, like it's not like this was a one-time deal where the guy gets dropped on his head and you're like, it seems like it's a continuing pattern. And I'm going to say this again, if it's consistently a case where he's getting hurt on moves with true pros that he's in the ring with, by and large, like I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say some of the blame is on him, but fucking jump, HENARE. Jump a little bit more for get some help. Everybody knows at this point that you're heavy, and you know that you're heavier than it seems. And get the fuck up. You got to get up. Look. There is a great enjoyment is not the word. Fascination. Maybe it's the car crash element. Maybe it's maybe it's Maybelline. It's every match though has this. I can't say every match, but there are plenty of big spot matches with HENARE where the concern and safety of him becomes in play. Like go through. I don't know, as many big matches, not on a fucking random multi-man tag, not, these spots. And there's these matches. It always seems like we wind up talking about a spot or two where you're like, that could have fucking really done some damage and he's going to be paying for that in later years. And he is cut from the cloth of, listen, I'm going balls to the wall and I'm fucking going straight ahead, and it is what it is. This is what I do. I mean, we've had conversations with him where he talks about how he wants guys to hit him as hard as possible so that he gets into a match. Like that's how he gets into the match. Like he wants to be hit, and like if you want to hit him in the face, so be it. I do worry about. Like, how many more times can he do stuff like that and the credit card bill comes in the mail? Hindsight's 20/20. And again, we're not the fucking safety police. But it's every fucking match with this guy, it feels like. We're talking about one spot, maybe two, that, was that not the right thing? Like in 10 years, is anybody going to remember this match? Probably not. In 10 years, he's going to remember that fucking spot because he's going to wake up and he's like, I can't move my fucking neck. Like, I don't know. Like, is the juice worth of the squeeze? I guess is my point. Again, but that's all pro wrestling. I think we could say that point. But I don't know. I just get worried with him specifically because, again, I said it 1,000 times. It's every fucking match with this guy.
How do you feel about the booking, the fact that the title's been taken off of him? Is that something you expected to happen? Is this a guy who's just sort of had his little push in the middle of the year and now is getting downcycled as we approach, the business end of the booking as we're gearing up towards Wrestle Kingdom?
I don't know if it's 100% that's going to be the case. I mean, we listen, what happens if Jake Lee's not available? We could absolutely pivot the Gabe Kid and away we go, right? I'm not surprised that I didn't think he was going to hold the title into Wrestle Kingdom. I didn't think that. And if things are going in the way that they seem to go, I'd rather have Shingo take the fall here on a first title defense to the new guy. I'd rather see that. And I'm not saying protect HENARE, but, He don't need to lose. He lost to Shingo, and they've they traded wins back and forth, and no harm, no foul, no big deal. I don't know. I think there's a lot of moving parts. I would not say that he is being put on the back burner. I don't think there's a clear defined path right now. And again, but you could always pivot to him in a spot to say, okay. And again, the Gabe Kidd scenario I gave, if Jake Lee's not available, I'm absolutely going there. And truth be told, I don't necessarily have a problem if we just did that, period. And that was that. In a special singles match. I mean, seriously, would you? All right, let's do this. Well, I know they don't do that, but that nonsense KOPW title. I know that it gets it's vacant at the Dome, and then we have a winner. I would rather just have one fucking match between those two for that title. Wouldn't that instantly elevate that dumb title? Like in a second? Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. So again, while there's not a clear definitive path for him right now, I don't think that means that we're going to forget about him.
8th match. Very excited to talk about this one. The IWGP Global Heavyweight title match. David Finlay defeating Yoshi-Hashi, 21 minutes, 38 seconds. And just setting up the match in the first place, I think was a really bold and inspired bit of booking to put it this high. Like David Finlay, for me, low-key Wrestler of the Year candidate, and a very useful acid test to see who's actually watching the product, because there's so many people just digging their heels in with him who, to me, are just not watching properly or just not watching full stop. Because I believe that if you see or hear people hand waving either of these guys, to be honest, but specifically Finlay, you can safely ignore those people, because he has been one of my favourite guys to watch this year. I love the way that he's changed his style. For last year, he was sort of working what felt like a sort of Jay White tribute act, and it wasn't working for him. But now he is just like roughhousing, power bullying style. And he's not built like a powerhouse, but he wrestles like one. He's got that deceptive raw strength and a moveset that looks like it hurts. He's dropping people on his knee and power bombing them out of their boots. Like, he looks like he's crippling his opponents. But also, not only that, he gives just enough to put the fire into the babyface comebacks. And Yoshi-Hashi is like the king of that, the king of the babyface comeback. So just brilliant chemistry between the two of them. And with Finlay, something I think not enough people give him credit for, he is technically superb. Really snug. You never see him botching his shit, even with some of the very intricate counter and reversal sequences. His work is outstanding. And I don't think he's ever going to win over the casuals. I think that ship has sailed. People have just dug their feet in, and that's that. I don't think the people are going to come around and be like, no, actually, let's give David Finlay his flowers. It's not going to happen. I don't even know if he's going to get to the level of something like being IWGP champion in New Japan. But whatever happens, I just fucking love watching this guy wrestle.
Yeah. He's definitely upped his game this year. That's for sure, number one. And number two, I think, again, the people that you describe are people that will always compare any Bullet Club or North American or Western wrestler heel to, those wrestlers who are arguably some of the best pro wrestlers to step foot in a ring, right? Like, and I understand that they had a great run when it came to that. And I'm not even going to sit here and tell you that they're in the same league as each other, but they're different and both equally like good, but like they're apples and oranges, it feels like. And that's refreshing because, yes, you could have a carbon copy. And yes, you could have a clone. And yes, you could have a less than. But if this, I don't know, he feels different. He feels fresh. And I feel like like everything doesn't have to be epic, and everything doesn't have to be this master class of chain reversal, kick out, big move. It doesn't have to be that. It can be straight ahead. I'm going to just fucking maul you. And it's not like we're talking about he's, just this big bumblefuck in the ring, just, clobbering people. Like I don't want to sit here and say like, well, you don't get the nuances of New Japan Pro Wrestling, because that would be fucking ignorant. But I think you do have an absolute valid point that there are people that just dig their heels in, and he's not cut from this cloth, so that he's no good. And I think that's just a really weird way to look at things. I don't know. And once again, Yoshi-Hashi proving that he deserves to be in the mix. I truly believe that. Maybe not as a guy, but to be in a mix, like he can go. You know it. We all know it. And I thought this match was really fucking good. And I think it was like underratedly good. And I don't hear people talking a lot about it, which is a little bit disappointing. Because once again, I think there are people that dig their heels in. And there can be I don't want to use it as like a gatekeepery kind of thing, because truth be told, I don't give a shit what you like and what you don't like. But like, I don't know. I just don't see where you don't see the value in a guy like him, and I don't know where you could just hand wave it and just be like, well, this guy's on top. This product sucks. Like, it's just mind boggling to me, because you're right. I don't feel like you're watching it with an open eye. And I don't feel like you're watching it with. I think you're watching it not with bad intentions, but you're watching it already sold on the fact that he's not your guy, and that's fine. If he's not your guy, he's not your guy. You know what I mean? Like I fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You like who you like, but don't come to the table with he's not good, because that's just a preposterous fucking argument.
In a way, I'm actually happy that he's not getting plaudits from the casuals, because for Yoshi-Hashi as well, because it feels like Yoshi-Hashi and David Finlay are two sides of the same coin.
Right.
You got a long-term favorite Yoshi-Hashi who's unloved and unsung, but real ones know what's up with him. And now we've got to that point with David Finlay. And I don't want people to start actually realizing he's really good, because then he'll get signed up for a different company and then I won't get to watch him wrestle anymore.
That's true.
So it's like, these are my two special boys that, only the Shinhon freaks appreciate. So let's just keep that as our little secret and enjoy watching them wrestle for many more years to come.
Yeah, I'm down with that. I mean, listen, they're not having any problems selling buildings, they don't have any problems selling buildings. So, yeah, there's a part of me that has that. I'm with you. There's a part of me.
I'm so excited for this Finlay Goto match.
It's going to be good.
And that's not something I thought I would be saying 12 months ago.
Right.
But stylistically, and also in terms of like the narrative, like the character work, that sings to me, that potential match.
Yeah. I mean, in essence, here's what we got. We got a guy that no one would have expected him to be in conversation, and a guy that is low-key exceeding expectations and is our little secret. You know what I mean? Like that. Like he's the underground band that you like. That I hope that next album doesn't fucking take off, because now I got to look at fucking Michelle at the concert. Ugh. You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. And if that's gatekeepery, then fucking so be it. But yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like the idea of that being something that New Japan fans can appreciate, and let the others like what they like, right? We sat here many times, and the Yoshi-Hashi stuff is well documented, and even to a certain degree, the David Finlay stuff is documented too. Joe, there were times where I sat here and I was like, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know if this guy's got it. I don't know if we're on the right path, and he's left me kind of lost. And then, he just puts together a little bit. And every month, a little better. Promos, better. Matches, better. Character development, better. I think he's coming to his own. Like, I feel like he truly deserves to be where he's at. And I think the Goto match will be pretty fucking spectacular too. I'm actually pretty excited for that one.
Question for Ruff, who says, well, we all knew Yoshi-Hashi wasn't going to beat Finlay. Do you guys think he could possibly win the TV or never before he hangs up his boots? And that's a tricky one, because I always feel with a guy like Yoshi-Hashi, the more he wins and the more accolades he gets, then you're sort of compromising the appeal of a guy who, I don't want to say he's a lovable loser, but certainly a lot of the emotional hook comes with him against adversity is the word I'm looking for. So I don't know. I feel that there would be value in him chasing a singles title and possibly winning it at some point in his career. But also I do think that it's really cool if it is just Bishamon is his thing. Like, that's his lane, is being a great tag wrestler with this great bond that he's got with Goto, both personally and professionally. The guy who sort of helped pick him up after that terrible mishap he had in Kobe, slipping over. And that could just be his thing. He's just a great tag wrestler. And I thought they the commentary team played up to that really well, where they were sort of highlighting positions where the sort of tag element would be possibly a decisive match-winning thing for Yoshi-Hashi in a similar situation, but wasn't in a singles environment. So, yeah, that's a tricky one. Like, how do you toe that line between sort of maximizing the appeal of a Yoshi-Hashi, but also not letting him win too much?
Right. You have to have a payoff somewhere. And if they do it right, they could build that and milk that for quite a while, right? And I think everyone, some of the more exciting moments in New Japan in recent time are when he does come through. And I think that, like, if he came through all the time, then what would be the joy, right? There is something to be said about that struggle that he seems to, like, if anybody projects struggle, it's him. Right? If there's anyone that projects, I have a mountain to overcome, it's him. And 9 times out of 10, that mountain is in his own mind. And there is something that is unbelievably endearing and charming, and you want to rally behind that. And I think that is a ticket seller. I do. Now, if he wins more than he loses, I think that appeal gets lost. It's a balance, no doubt. And I think they can do it. They can do it once. I think they could do it twice before he hangs it up. I don't think they'd do it a million times. I don't think there's any need to, because he's a perfect example of a guy that people can rally behind, and he doesn't have to win. He's not as lovable loser as like a Honma was, at the end of his career. But in the same breath, there is something that is, I think it can connect with people that, especially pro wrestling fans, that want to root for the underdog. And I think that's pro wrestling 101. I mean, you could do that with the fucking Rock and Roll Express, and you can do that with, I don't know, a guy like, sorry to sit here and stick with Southern Pro Wrestling, but Sam Houston, or there are people who have made careers from that, and I feel like he has the talent to be able to play that role. If it's tag wrestling that will define him at the end of the career, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. But I think that it is built so that this guy could go on a little bit of a magical run, a little bit of a streak, and get people invested. And there's nothing wrong with him catching the TV title or catching the Never title for one little spot. Correct me if I'm wrong. He has no singles titles, correct?
Yes, that's right.
So, I mean, that's there. It's on the table, and I don't think anybody would shit on that moment. I think that would be a really cool fucking thing.
Main event was the IWGP World Heavyweight title match. Tetsuya Naito defeating the Great Okan, 30 minutes, 54 seconds. And I'm not going to lie, I struggled with this one.
Well,
I think it was just the fact that I never at any point believed that Great Okan was going to win. I thought they did a tremendous job building the match. I thought his interviews were excellent, and he really spoke. He said some quite bold things about Naito and sort of the nature of having this sort of ailing guy as the champion that people don't necessarily believe in as a all-conquering force. So that was all great. And I thought the G1 match they had where Great Okan got the upset win was very dramatic and exciting. I thought like the in-ring work was good in this match, but it was just lacking something for me. I mean, it could just be that sort of the doldrum spot of having a challenger that isn't really going to win. So there's never any real drama. Like it can't get above a certain ceiling in terms of your excitement and your suspension of disbelief. So yeah, I had a bit of a hard time with this one.
I'm with you. And I think that's a problem with a lot of the title defenses during this time of the year. And I guess that's one of the reasons why we're so excited for the Zack match, because there is, it could go either way. It feels like and people are excited for that, and they see that as a definite possibility that's on the table. And I don't think you ever would have that with Great Okan. That being said, they did draw a great house, Joel, and I want to give all the credit in the world to Naito, because to me, he's the star of the show. But are people buying tickets knowing full well that there's no shot of Great Okan winning? That seems weird to me. There has to be some element of doubt, I would think, for people to, again, it wasn't like people were turned away at the door. But is that just all on the back of Naito? There has to be something to be said about Great Okan there too, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think he deserves some of the credit for this, but I mean, I'm just speculating here, but I suspect Naito's done a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of this number, which ties us back to that original question where if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said very confidently that Zack is winning at King of Pro Wrestling. But with all the stuff that went down in this match, this show, and the post-show stuff as well, with Shingo coming out and me considering not only the possible creative directions for that of maybe doing Naito versus Shingo again, or Naito having a retirement match against Shingo or Hiromu at the Dome, possibly disbanding LIJ, and also just how effective Naito is as a draw. I'm going to put aside all the concerns we have about him as a top-tier worker, because I don't really think there's a debate there anymore. We know he's not what he used to be, but he's doing great work in terms of ticket sales, and I don't think that's something that I'm ready to hand wave when we've got 2 Wrestle Kingdom shows coming up. And this is not me saying that I think he's going to even definitely headline one of them, let alone be prominent on both of them. But it's definitely put a big seed of doubt in my mind, which I think is a good thing. I know that I still feel that Zack would look like a chump going into Royal Quest not being the champion, given everything that he said about how he's coming home. The next time you see him, he's going to be champion. He's going to defend the title at Royal Quest. If he just turns up at Royal Quest in a special singles match with Sanada and be like, "Oh, sorry guys, I fucked it up," then he's going to look like a bit of a twat. But again, that's not to say it's not going to happen, because we know New Japan, what they do sometimes. Sometimes they just go into sicko mode when they're doing their storytelling. So I'm putting this down as a win. The fact that there's that much uncertainty there and all these interesting different directions you could go is something that I enjoy. And, I've sat here and talked about how I couldn't get into the drama of Naito versus Okan because I didn't believe Okan was going to win. That is not an issue going forward, as you said, with this King of Pro Wrestling main event. And I think that's a credit to Naito, to be honest, the way that's been built up, because he really did good work with Shingo, and then Oi were coming out after this to create that doubt in my mind and have those interesting different directions we could go in.
It is. And to me, that's one of the best parts about being a fan of this, is that when you don't know and there is that uncertainty and you can go in multiple different ways and you're totally fine with any way they go. Is Naito a guy that needs the title, though? Can he still be a top guy and not have the title?
I would prefer to see him go out on top rather than fade and crumble and just go sort of sliding down in an undignified way. If I was in charge, I would just be tempted to have him going out on top at Wrestle Kingdom, just saying, right, this is it, all or nothing retirement match. Either I win main event of the Tokyo Dome January 4th, or I lose and walk off into the sunset.
Would it, and I know I'm asking questions as a response, but would it be I guess my point is this. With Naito and Wrestle Kingdom, I don't know if we necessarily have to have him with the title, right? And I wouldn't want to, I guess my point is this. Is there substantial proof that Naito has consistently been able to deliver throughout the year, or when it comes to attendance and ticket sales and that kind of stuff with him on top? Or is just this a blip? Was the weather nice and people decided to go out of their house and catch a pro wrestling show? Were there other circumstances that helped this show sell as many tickets as it did? Are we just giving it all the credit in the world to Naito and not other circumstances? And I guess my point is this, Joe. I wouldn't want to deviate from a plan just because we had this one blip of positivity to make everyone question the path that we might be going down. Because I think that's foolhardy. I feel like that's somewhat keeping the pace just to line our pockets now, knowing that maybe this path might lead to bigger riches. And instead, we're going to take these incremental little positive steps with Naito, and keep it status quo just because it feels good that we're hitting these goals and not looking toward the long term. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And for me, my interest in the product and the matchmaking is always primarily driven by how creatively satisfying I find it. Whilst I acknowledge that the sort of business side of it is important, I'm not really interested in that. So whilst I'm sort of acknowledging the draw aspect of it, and I think historically Naito has enough of a body of evidence to suggest that he is a big draw, that is not what my primary motivating factor is in looking at what I think would be the best main event for January 4th at the Tokyo Dome.
Right.
Because here's the issue, right? Whilst I prefer Zack and I want Zack to be champion going into that, I can't think of an opponent for him that has me thinking, yes, that is it. That's the Wrestle Kingdom main event. Zack versus this person. That is your match in terms of, again, my own creative fulfillment. Whereas having something like a Naito retirement match, to me, that has a lot more drama in it.
Right. I see your point. Trust me, I do. And I would go one step further and say, is there anyone on that roster that Zack can wrestle that would be as important as Naito versus whomever? And the only thing I can come up with is that they would have to go outside the company.
No, it's Taichi, but they're not going to do that because they're cowards.
Oh, right. But I mean, you still hear Zack talking about Bryan Danielson. You know, it's like it feels like that's our future. I could be dead wrong, but that's my only concern with Zack winning. Like, what would be that title defense? What would that look like? And is there anybody on the roster that him versus Zack would be as juicy to a live crowd or a buzz or what have you, besides like Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever. I can't think of anybody else, and especially no one on the roster, which is a little bit. Now with Naito, I mean, Christ, you could go down. I think there's 3 or 4 guys that possibilities, and some of them are in LIJ and some of them aren't. That's my biggest concern. Like, if Zack wins and we're going into Wrestle Kingdom with him holding the title, what's that main event look like? And I don't know if...
Right, let me go throw a name at you. Okada.
Right, but you bring...
And I'm not saying that's what I think is good or what they should do, because I've already expressed my concerns over that. I don't like the optics of Okada coming in and going straight into the January 4th main event. I don't like that, but that is something that people have speculated.
I would have zero problem with it from okay, this is going to be pretty fucking great. I'm into it. I don't have a problem with him main eventing Wrestle Kingdom. I really don't, because I think like you don't bring him back. Like, one, I think it's weird that you would bring him back so quick. I think that's number one. But we have this relationship. This is the world we live in. So if we are bringing him back, that's the spot. He's not a New Japan guy, though. I guess that's my point. Like, Zack versus Okada, I'm all for it. Zack versus, there's a bunch of people that I think would be great. I don't know if I'm sitting here and I can sit here and rattle off names on the New Japan roster that would be as sexy as an outsider coming in. And I don't know if that's a good idea or not. That's my dilemma.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think for me, January 4th, or at least the business end of the card, needs to be New Japan centric. Right. I don't want to see any outsiders coming in there. Save that for January 5th.
Because
January 4th, particularly main event, I want to see New Japan guy versus a New Japan guy. Because
to me, what we're doing there is just what I described, is that we're getting the short-term gain. Like that house will be nice. You bring in Okada to challenge Zack for the title in his first match back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, I feel like that is a match that people would be buying tickets for. The scalpers be damned. That's short term. It's not long term. And I'm kind of in long term mode. And even with that said, though, Joel, so what would be long term with Naito as a main event? Trust me, there's Tsuji, there's a lot of ways you could go. And I think there's more options with Naito being the champion going into the Dome than Zack, even though I feel like Zack's winning the title. And I would be all for it. And I'm a fan and I'm into it. Like, looking at Wrestle Kingdom, though, Naito's guy. Naito's the guy. And if you want to bring in an outsider to pop a house, I'm cool with that. I understand. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not like it hasn't been done in pro wrestling history. I'm in build mode. And I don't know if that satisfies that goal.
Burning Hammer says, if Naito retains at King of Pro Wrestling, he could call out Shingo for Royal Quest and Hiromu for Wrestle Kingdom. What do you think about that?
On table
says, could you see a future where Naito transitions to primarily tag matches? No, I don't want tag Naito. That does nothing for me. But yeah, I can definitely see Naito Shingo at Royal Quest and then Naito Hiromu at the Dome, because as far as I recall, I don't think Naito or Shingo have anything booked for Royal Quest. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can see it.
The possibilities are there, man. That's what makes it exciting. I mean, not for nothing. These next couple days, weeks, and again, the lead up into Wrestle Kingdom, I think everyone's excited. To me, this is where we like the match. And these next couple of months are going to dictate our long-term future. So yeah, there's no reason not to be excited, and we could go that route that was brought to your, in the question by Burning Hammer with it, or we could go Zack. And I don't think anybody's going to complain either way. But again, those are the things that I see on the horizon that we just need to be mindful of.
Andrew says, what kind of takes are you expecting when the shortlist for the rest of the year is Zack Sabre Jr., Tsuji, Goto, Finlay, and Doki? Yes, I do. I think there's going to be some interesting discourse. I feel it's probably, if I open the vote up to just the Twitterverse, like anyone who has access to that, then Zack is going to win. But if I just restricted it to the freaks, then I think we might get some more diverse, interesting, and unpredictable. Yeah, there could be a real battle for that rest of the year, because Zack, I feel, is the clear candidate in terms of the casuals. But if I sort of really boiled it down and looked at who's delivering match quality consistently, it's very tough this year.
I don't think that I think the matches that have blown people away, Zack has been involved in. And I think great, steady pro wrestling has been with other hands. Yeah, I like, what's interesting to me is that while I think, you're right, Zack is probably the person I'm leaning on and leaning to. I wouldn't say by a country mile, but I'd say, like, he's got my number one vote. He could solidify that easily in the next 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, he could fucking put his stamp on things and lock that down. We'll see. I think he's the guy, though. But like, that doesn't mean that a guy like Doki can't get votes, and that doesn't mean a guy like Goto can't get votes, and that doesn't mean a guy like HENARE can't get votes. Gabe Kidd could get votes. I think here's what I don't think we'll have. I don't know if we have that one Kenny Omega, Okada, Tanahashi, where it's just like slam dunk. You know what I mean? Ospreay. You know what I mean? Like, where it's just like, of course. I mean, there's no other. I think that there's good debate, and people can come to the table with a lot of different opinions, which makes it fun, makes it interesting. But listen, if you put a gun to my head, I say Zack is your wrestler of the year this year so far, and he's got the chance to fucking just put a nail in that coffin and take that home.
Jersey Joe Gotch says, are you really interested in what's going to happen at Wrestle Kingdom this year? New Japan has been so poor this year. My interest in Wrestle Kingdom is probably at the lowest point it's been in the last 10 years, and I don't think I'm the only one feeling this way. That's, to me, no, I disagree with that. I'm interested. I think New Japan has been very good this year, and I'm excited about Wrestle Kingdom, and I feel that seems to be the general consensus, at least in our circles and our fandom. I mean, I suppose if you were to ask casual fans who primarily watch US wrestling, they might say something of that ilk, but yeah, that's not been my experience and the people that I talk to.
I think the problem is, a lot of it is that we're not judging it on an individual basis, and we're judging it against other years and other eras of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And that's tough, because I'll sit here and say that if we take this year and compare it to, I don't know, 2019, 2018, like, I think that's unfair, one, and two, then it's not beating those years, right? This year's not beating those years. Like we're talking about and defining a stretch for New Japan that arguably could go down as one of the greatest runs of a pro wrestling company, especially when it comes to in-ring action and product. Like, it's up there in the conversation to have in one of the greatest pockets ever in pro wrestling history. Like, that's what we're comparing things to. And I understand that it's not of that level, because I would absolutely 1,000% agree with you. That being said, don't discount it because it's not that. Discount it because it sucks. But you can't do that because it hasn't. It's been very good. We've had a very good year. And the good news is that very good year, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, I truly believe we will be entering another era of greatness. Can I 100% give you that'll happen? No, but I feel it will. So no, don't hand wave it because it's not good. Because it is good. Like, and don't hand wave it because it doesn't measure up to some of the greatest pro wrestling we've ever seen. Because it can't. Judge it on its own merit. And I think that you'll find that there's probably more stuff that you enjoyed than you didn't. And that's, trust me, I get it. That's hard for people to do. It's hard for people to do. It's kind of like a band, you know, they have like a run of like 3 great albums and they're just like fucking genre defining and some, you know, not a bad song on a fucking thing. And then they come out with that album and it's good, but it doesn't hit like it did, right? It's still good, still very good, but not, you know, fucking this monstrosity of epicness. You can't sustain that. And it's okay to say that it doesn't equal that, because guess what? There's not many eras in many companies that would even come close to sniffing the greatness that it was. So that's my piece of advice.
Okay, well, we've got lots of match announcements for cards coming up. Let's look at what we've got for Royal Quest so far. So this is not the complete card, but so far we've got Azumi and Danny Luna versus Kanji and Mina Shirakawa, Michael Oku versus Kosei Fujita, Driller Maloney versus Yota Tsuji, Shota Umino versus Callum Newman, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sanada, and the strong openweight tag team titles with TMDK, Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes versus Hiroshi Tanahashi and Tomohiro Ishii. So Ollie says, how do you think the Royal Quest card compares to prior years? I've been to all 3 so far, but having seen this year's card, it doesn't interest me enough to make the trip for it. Burning Hammer says, your take on Taka Michinoku coming to the UK for the first time since when? Well, I won't be taking my wife anywhere near the show. Jeez. Say that for nothing. So I mean, this is obviously, it's not the full card yet. More stuff will be announced. But I do like and respect what they're doing in terms of, like I said, with King Pro Wrestling, showcasing the young guys with singles matches. So having Fujita, Driller, Tsuji, Shota Umino, Callum Newman, all in singles matches. I like that. That's what I want to see from this company, investing in the future and giving those guys big spots in front of what I think will be quite a hot crowd. So, again, whilst we don't have the complete card yet, I think there's a lot of green shoots there, a lot of stuff to be excited about.
Yeah, I actually dig the show. I think it sounds, you know, compared to fucking a lot of the stuff we get in the States, you know, we although the last Washington D.C. show on paper was pretty nice. I think the bigger question, Joel, is, and I'm looking, I don't know if you know this, and if you decide to do this, I'll pay for it. How about that? Before Royal Quest in Crystal Palace, fans will be able to meet some big names at a special meet and greet session, and the lineups are now confirmed. If I gave you money, will you get your mark picture with Naito, Takahashi, Zack, Shane Hayes and Mikey Nichols, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Tomohiro Ishii, Taka Michinoku? I'll leave it at that. Who are you getting your picture taken with?
I think it would have to be Zack. I was worried you were going to say Gabe Kidd, like you're going to dare me to go do a meet and greet with him. I don't want to do that. No, don't fancy it.
You're not going to go up and say, hey, I'm Joel from the Super J-Cast. You're not going to do that?
No, I would not do that.
That would be great. I would love that interaction. Just bring Dan and a gun. You'll be fine. Just kidding, of course. Zack, yeah, probably. You know what? Zack might be the one I would do too, because I think I did the mark pictures with everybody else. So, yeah, Zack would be it. All right, let me know. I'll Venmo you the money.
Cool. Let's look at the King of Pro Wrestling card. So this is for October 14th. So we got Hiromu Takahashi versus Mystico. Then we've got the IWGP Junior Tag Championship match with the Intergalactic Jet Setters, Kevin Knight and Kushida, challenging Driller Maloney and Clark Connors. We have an IWGP Tag Championship match with Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols defending against Caveman Ugg and Bad Luck Fale.
What the fuck?
I mean, that is the match that says Jake Lee's injured, so we had to do something different. We have fourth match, Never Openweight Championship match, Shingo Takagi against Ryohei Oiwa. Then it's the NJPW World TV Championship match three-way between Jeff Cobb, Yota Tsuji, and Ren Narita. Hiroshi Tanahashi 25th anniversary match, El Phantasmo, Shota Umino, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Yujiro Takahashi, and Evil. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match, Doki defending against Sho. IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship match, David Finlay against Hiroki Goto. And IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match, Tetsuya Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr.
That's a show, man.
That is a pretty stacked show. I mean, there is something on the line in every single match. And not just championships, but I feel like, there are stakes to all those matches. And it is very streamlined, isn't it? There's there's a lot of people who are not on this card.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Fucking Hiromu versus Mystico. That is going to kick ass. I like Kevin Knight and Kushida as a tag team. And War Dogs I dig too. So I think that's going to be pretty fucking great. Look, I don't mind the old TMDK. Again, as a reminder, they are the tag champions. In case anyone forgot, look. How did Bad Luck Fale squeeze into this thing? I'll never know. I can't say I'm interested in that in any way, shape, or form. Shingo versus Oiwa, I'm all in. Even the three-way, I'm kind of digging. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of them. But again, they're going to try and squeeze all that shit into a fucking 5-pound bag. That might be fun. The House of Torture stuff, okay. 6-man, we'll see. It might be fun. Who knows? It might be annoying, but okay. I'm not worried about that. I think Doki and Sho has a possibility of being good. I'm a little concerned. We'll see. I think Finlay Goto will be really good, and I think people are sleeping on that, and they shouldn't be. And then we have a match that people are fucking pumped for and people are excited for. And people don't. And again, we spent 2 hours talking about possibilities, but at the end of the day, we're going to have a great fucking pro wrestling match and it's going to dictate the future. I'm in. I don't know what else you need to be excited about. I don't know what if you're not fucking pumped up for this, if you're not excited for this, I don't know. Check your pulse. Get some cocaine. I don't know. Do something. Because this is fucking good. And there's build, and there's drama, and there's stakes on the line. Let's fucking go, man. I don't think I would be hard pressed to come up with a better show on paper. And if they deliver, this has got show of the year potential in my mind.
And the last thing I'd like to look at before we get out of here is coming up this Sunday in the Chiba Togane Arena is Wrestling Life 40th Anniversary Yuji Nagata Produce Blue Justice 14.
All right.
So the card for this is Masatoru Yasuda, Shomakato, and Toriyano against Nagai Daiki, Katsuya Murashima, and Bolton Oleg. Second match, Hartley Jackson, Shane Haston, Mikey Nichols against Taiji Ishimori, Caveman Ugg, and Bad Luck Fale. Third match, Taka Michinoku and Doki against Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Sho. Fourth match, Hiromu Takahashi and Yota Tsuji versus Jacob Austin Young and Jeff Cobb. Fifth match, Shota Umino, Tomohiro Ishii and Hiroshi Tanahashi against Dick Togo, Yujiro Takahashi and Evil. Sixth match, Kevin Knight, Kushida, Tomoaki Honma, Yoshi-Hashi, Hiroki Goto versus Drilla Maloney, Clark Connors, Gedo, Gabe Kidd, and David Finlay. Seventh match, Bushi, Shingo, and Naito against Kosei Fujita, Ryohei Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. And main event, special tag match, Jun Akiyama and Yuji Nagata against Atsushi Kotoge and Go Shiozaki.
That match were fucking 10 years ago. That would be a banger, man. I'll tell you what. It probably still would be pretty good. All things considered. All right. Listen, now the scalper's going to take all the fucking tickets, dude. Thanks a lot. Now they know. Not a privy. That's not a terrible show. There have been plenty of other of those Blue Justice shows that have been like, oh, okay, this is all right. That's not a bad show, all things considered. Am I going to go out of my way to watch? Well, we'll see. But I think that main event should be pretty good. Should be fun. Good, hard-hitting pro wrestling. Solid, stiff. Good stuff. I think it's good.
All right. That's all from me. Anything else you'd like to say to the fine people before we get out of here?
I was going to say something perverted, like go fuck your mother, but I won't do that. That'd be in poor taste. That's not how we roll here at the Super J Cast. So I'll just say, how do you do?
Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.